Let's talk a little more Broncos schedule. Let's go to Skype and bring in Troy Renck of the Denver Post, who covers the Broncos on a daily basis. Troy, thanks for joining us. And what's the thing that stands out for you as far as this Broncos schedule goes? Just give me your overall impression.
Well, they're on the road a lot, which is a concern. And then when you look at that gauntlet through November, early December, I mean, they got to survive those games, but having a veteran quarterback will help immensely.
I would think, though, that the first thought of your mind is like mine, though, that game in Oakland in October, we can go to Napa and do some wine tasting, and we can go to the wharf in San Francisco. We go to In-N-Out Burger. That's got to be the highlight of the season, Broncos season, don't you think?
Yeah, highlight of every season for me is flying Southwest with you, Woody, and saving an exit row seat for you. Really all gravy after that.
Oh, yeah, you want to bring up, you save a seat for me. Southwest, you pay a few extra bucks, and not a few, but you pay some extra bucks, and you get the early board. Well, Troy did it for me one week where he paid the extra bucks and he saved me a seat. And you have to lie to people coming down. Oh, yeah, my daughter's coming here in a minute or something like that. Well, but I returned a favor later in the season. So don't say it's all about you.
Hey, Troy, you're out at Dove Valley right now. How do the Broncos feel about their schedule?
You know, they're kind of mum. You know, I mean, it's not like last year where they were the clear favorite. If you look at the schedule, the Patriots, the Colts, those teams are clearly the feature teams now in the AFC. The road issue is a little bit concerning, that stretch through November. But beyond that, hey, they're going to be on a lot of big games. Peyton Manning's going to be the show in a couple of those games, specifically at Green Bay and at home against New England finally. So not a lot of concern. The schedule isn't going to sabotage them. But, again, the games on the road are – that stretch in November is going to be tough.
We just had Danny Trevathan on the show for the last 45 minutes or so, and we were talking about Brandon Marshall right after he left and what Mike Kliss wrote today about Brandon. But the concern has got to be that Danny Trevathan comes back at 100% and he showed us the scar on his knee here. He pulled up his pants leg. And Brandon Marshall, those have got to be question marks in regard to how they return. And let's just ask me, if Brandon Marshall's not full go at the beginning of the season, who do you think fits into that slot?
Well, it's a great question, Woody, and there has to be concern. I mean, Brandon Marshall had Liz Frank surgery, so there's a chance that he may not be ready by training camp. But Todd Davis, Corey Nelson would be in that mix. You look at a guy like you guys mentioned, Lamine Barrow. I think changing the defense will help Barrow. He clearly had trouble grasping some of it last year. They wanted him on the field sooner, and he wasn't ready. That's what led them to go get Todd Davis. They have depth, but if either Trevathan and Marshall aren't ready or aren't 100%, they would compromise some performance. Those two guys are elite tacklers, tackling machines. So if they're not on the field, that will hurt. I mean, there's no young guy behind them where you say, oh, yeah, that guy can fill in the same way. They don't really have that. Now, it could be Barrow. I agree with you, Woody, but we got to see it. He was not unlike a lot of their draft choices last year. He didn't get on the field much.
Hey, Troy, really appreciate your time. I know you got stuff you got to get to out there at Dove Valley, and we'll talk to you real soon, okay?
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
All right, Troy Renck of the Denver Post.